Here is the thing that has been bothering me for a long time, but recently the impacts of it has been much greater in my life. I don't know if the video that I'm making is going to get any views, or it's what I'm going to talk about is of any importance. My words may just be wishful, fanciful words of someone who knows nothing about politics or the affairs of the world. Just talking from my personal view, but really I need to talk about these things because even if no one listens, I think like I need to talk about them. So I was thinking today, because of all the hardships that I had to go through recently. By recently I mean during the past 8 or 9 months, or past year especially. I was thinking it's impossible. Are we really living in 21st century? Because it doesn't look to me like that. It doesn't look to me like we are humans who have passed through the stages of living living in caves, and then living in jungles, and then we started to build societies, and then is this the place that we are, is this the spot that we are on right now after so many years, after so many centuries? This is just crazy. So to me, the world is like just completely crazy at the moment, and I see no betterment or no progression in the things that are happening. A few countries are exempt from what is going on, the bad things that are going on, and but there are so few. The majority of the countries are all into this degradation of humankind and the lack of progression kind of stuff. So what I'm talking about is, like, for example, first of all, I think, like, look at the affair of the countries. The countries in Asia, many different countries in Asia are at the moment fighting against each other and fighting against the countries outside of Asia, and then countries in Europe are fighting against each other and against countries outside of Europe. Countries in Africa are in terrible condition. Countries in the American continent are like the North America and the South America, they're in bad conditions. And I was thinking, what is going on? Like, okay, for example, I'm not an American, and I have no say in what should the American government do. Whatever I say is of no political importance, and I have no understanding. It's just my personal idea that, like, for example, today I was reading in a post. I saw in a post that in the wall between Mexico and America, there are built seesaws. And so one side of the seesaw is in Mexico, the other side is in America, and there is the wall in between, and no one sees, like, if I'm on the Mexican side, I can't see who's on the American side. And people, in order to show, in a symbolic way, show unity, they come and play on this seesaw. So I was thinking, what's wrong with this picture? Like, instead of doing something good that can benefit the people in both sides, you're just letting people you're letting people down. The only thing that you're doing is making seesaws to symbolically show unity. Why doesn't the American government help the Mexican government or the South American governments to make their countries safer, so that instead of making walls and walls and walls and borders and protecting the borders every day more and more and more, and making it hard for people to move from one place to another place, instead of all those things, why can't we just help each other to have safe countries, and then we can freely move between countries? I know that this is just, I'm taking it very simply. It's not as simple as that. There are so many things needed, but at the end of the day, after all the things that are needed, it's just the will, the human will to make things better, and I don't see that will. Or another case is like, for example, in Asia, there are these Taliban, Daesh, Taliban are definitely killing the people of Afghanistan, the poor people of Afghanistan. And what other countries do is, like even my own country, I'm an Iranian, my country, what Iran does is just, we are strengthening our borders against the entry of Afghan people who are escaping from their condition. And then my country, instead of trying to help Afghans, trying to help other countries around us like Afghanistan, Pakistan, other countries around us that actually need help, what my country is doing is doing bad things, spending money in places where it shouldn't be spent. It's just helping the degradation of the world. It helps the degradation of the world, and it's no good at all. Like there are very strong countries, very powerful countries in Asia, like say Japan, like say South Korea. And what are those countries doing in order to help the other countries inside Asia? Or just take the case of, I don't know, I don't like to get into this matter of Israel, Palestine, but that's just another example that we are absolutely doing nothing. In the African continent, which is rather far from other continents, we know what's going on there with poor countries, and the only thing that we are doing is just like helping the children with education. Every once in a while the UN is doing that, or sending them food or stuff like that. But what fundamental steps are the governments of the world, the strong governments of the world who claim to be superpowers, who claim to be governments who want the betterment of humanity, what are they doing? What are they doing? It shouldn't be like that. After so many centuries of human civilization, we have, it feels to me like we haven't progressed even a bit, not even a bit. And I believe that, like for example, in a place like UN, United Nations, what are they doing? The people in United Nations are doing nothing. Like the United Nation shouldn't be the arena of the different governments, different representatives from different countries coming there and starting to fight one another, and then this country tries to succeed over the other country tries to succeed over the other country. What kind of help can that do for humanity? Instead of all the countries uniting to one another and thinking about good ways how to help the world, they're just fighting each other. We are just fighting each other. Governments are fighting each other. We people are also fighting each other. But why has it come to my attention so boldly recently? Okay, the story is that about a year ago I started traveling. My first intention was to get into New Zealand because my best friend, whom I know for over 12 years, lives in New Zealand. And I didn't think that I didn't think of the possibility of me being rejected, even though everyone around me told me that they're gonna reject you for the visa. As you know, Iran is a country, as you know or you may not know, Iran is a country that has a very, very weak passport. So wherever around the world I need to go or I want to go, I need a visa for that. And it's not just the kind of visa that, like, it's not the airport kind of visa. You have to apply for the visa. You have to gather so many documents and so many evidence that you're going to come back to your country. Because why? I know the reason for that, because the affairs in Iran have been so terribly difficult and so bad that people decided to get out of the country. And this is again related to what I was talking about earlier. Instead of, like, for example, if the government in Iran is harmful for the rest of the world, why don't you do something to help not just the world but also the Iranian citizens, instead of putting more obligations and sanctions which the only people who suffer, the only group that suffers is the people. So anyway, I started traveling a year ago. I was so hopeful. I gathered everything. I gathered lots of information. My friend sent me support, which is just financial support, so that I can show to the New Zealand government that if I go there, I will come back. I'm just going there for a short period of time in order to visit my friend. And then we thought, okay, let's get out of our countries. We started traveling together, and we thought at the earliest stage of our traveling, I will send the visa to the New Zealand government. Then at the first months of our traveling together, we were in Turkey. I sent the visa for the New Zealand government, and I was so hopeful. I had even thought about the places I would like to go visit in New Zealand. I had thought about the communities. I had thought about all the Iranian people that I have heard live there, and going to talk to them, and just lots of good things. And I had even thought, okay, I go there once. If it's good, I will apply again. I will eventually find a job there. Maybe I can stay there with a job or continue my university studying, things like that. And then we were in Turkey. I sent my visa for the New Zealand government, and they were supposed to answer within 32 working days, if I'm not mistaken. And days passed, and we could stay in Turkey for, I guess, 3 months for free. And then after that, I traveled to Cambodia, because I thought, okay, if I'm going to come to New Zealand, Cambodia is closer to New Zealand than Turkey. So I traveled to Cambodia, which, by the way, was an ordeal. In the airport, they stopped me. They said, where is your visa? And Iranians need a visa, and blah, blah, blah. So that was scary. And in Cambodia, I could stay 1 month without visa, and I could extend my visa for another 1 month. And at the end of the first month, I had still not received any answers from the New Zealand government. It was like much more than 32 working days that they had initially talked about. So I called the New Zealand embassy and asked them about what's going on with my visa. And the woman said, okay, we are working on it. You will soon hear from us. And the next day, I received the email that here is your visa application. And I had no idea of anything but acceptance. And I opened the email with so much joy, and like I was just joy and hope. And I opened the email, and there it was said, you are declined, because your evidence that shows that you will go back in your country and not overstay your welcome here are not enough. Now, as I said, my friend had supported me financially. So what the New Zealand government could do was to just say, okay, if you overstay here, we will fine your friend if he's your supporter. But they didn't do that. They just rejected me. And I was so disappointed, so shocked, that for like 10 minutes I was sitting there, my laptop on my lap, and I was just looking at the answer, and I couldn't believe what my eyes were seeing. And after 10 minutes, maybe I started crying, because it's just so shocking, so shocking. It destroyed the course of my life at that point. At that point, I was so ready to go to New Zealand, but then I had to go back home, because no other countries around that area let me enter without a visa. And after that, I applied for New Zealand visa 2 more times. And on both other 2 conditions, they rejected me for the same reason. You don't have enough evidence to show that you will go back to your country after a while. And I mean, what the hell? I understand that there are people who travel from their countries to other countries, and they're overstay their welcome, or they even escape their countries, go to another country lawlessly, and they create problems. But where is the place of delving into the history of my character history, my education, my background? Have I ever done something like terroristic in the world, or what kind of person I am, who's my supporter? No, nothing. Just reject, because I started to think that as soon as I sent my visa application to any countries, they see the name Iran and they see the picture of me in my passport, because in Iran we have to take pictures for a passport with something covering our hair. So as soon as they see my picture, as soon as they see my nationality, everything goes off. No, this person is going to overstay, or this person is a terrorist, or this person is dangerous, whatever. I don't know what's going on in their brains. But I mean, what is going on? Why don't we countries help each other instead of tightening our borders? I'm talking about like countries like New Zealand, Australia. They have made it absolutely difficult for people from my region to get into their countries, even though people from Iran are not uneducated. We are not stupid, we are not terrorists, we are not nothing. And they can easily do a background check, see if everything is fine, but they don't do that because it's not financially to their benefit. If you go to those countries, you see lots of Korean tourists, lots of Japanese tourists, lots of American tourists, and they're free to roam around the world because their countries are good countries, their governments are good governments. But what is the fault of me as an Iranian who is born in Iran, and because of my country I have to undertake so many difficulties? Another thing that happened, and these kind of problems just continue to happen on and on and on. My visas were rejected for this and that country. I didn't have many choices to move around. It was like just very suffocating. Even outside of Iran, I am treated as an Iranian who's under sanctions, and I can't open a bank account anywhere. I can't have a credit card, international credit card. I cannot find a job anywhere because I am like, my university degree is English literature, and I love English literature, but I can't work as a teacher in other countries because every day that passes the situation gets harder. They want just native speakers, and then they want this and that diploma. But I'm not a native speaker. I'm not a bad speaker. I'm not as good as a native speaker, but I don't think like I don't have any talents in teaching. So I was desperately, and still am, searching for a job without any results. That's another thing. And then what happened just a few weeks ago, which was just like totally crazy, was I started traveling again. I came to Cambodia in order to get a visa for Vietnam. And by the way, some months ago I got a visa for Vietnam, and I had to go through the Bangkok airport in order to get to Vietnam. And I had my Vietnam ticket in my hand, and I was seeing my flight behind the windows in Bangkok airport, and they stopped me in Bangkok airport, said no, you can't go forward, you can't enter your flight, you can't board in your flight because you needed a visa in Bangkok airport. And I searched the internet, there was no information about that. And I said, okay, I'm ready to get a transit visa. Give me a transit visa. They said, no, sorry, for Iranians, we don't have transit visa. And I said, okay, so what should I do right now? They said, okay, your airline, which was going to take you to Vietnam, is a budget airline, and the budget airline is in the area of the same airport that you can't go with because you don't have a visa. Now you have to take a flight from this area of the airport that we tell you, and only from there you can go to any countries that you want to go. And I checked the tickets of the flights that were in that area of the airport, and all of them were going to the countries for which I needed visa. They were going to France, they were going to European countries, American countries. I needed a visa. I couldn't move. And there was no single flight even flying back to my own country. I was stuck there. And it was so frightening. I had to sleep in the airport for one night. No one was there to help. They were not letting me move. They were saying you can't stay in the airport for more than 24 hours because after that you will be considered a person who has entered the country lawlessly, and you will face penalties. And finally, early in the next morning, after being in the airport for like 20 hours, 21 hours, I found a very expensive ticket back to my own country. And that way my trip was ended, and I went back to my country. But this time like 3 weeks ago, I started traveling again, and I came to Cambodia in the hope that I can stay here for a month, and after a month I can get the visa for Vietnam. I'll go to Vietnam. I have 3 months, and I'll go to Vietnam and find a job and stay there for a longer period of time, like maybe build myself a life there. So I signed up for a visa, Vietnam visa, some 3 days ago through their government page. And after 2 times of asking me for corrections on my information, which were already correct, they rejected my visa. And then today I decided to go through one of these travel agencies that guarantee that I can get a visa, but I realized that now they're asking me for information that they were not asking me the previous time I was signing up for my Vietnam visa. In other words, the situation is getting harder and harder. Like right now there are just few countries that I can go without a visa, and those countries are also allowing me to stay just a very short amount of time. So I'm thinking, is all these troubles are happening because I am born in Iran. And this is the condition of the whole world. Like a person who's born in Africa, or a person who's born in Afghanistan, or a person who's born in Pakistan, any of these countries, they may be good people, and just because of the politics of their governments and their regimes, wherever they want to go in the world, they are not treated fairly. Now, my problem is not just myself, even though life has become really hard on me. From this point on, I don't know if I can move forward, if I can find a job anywhere, which I really, really need, and what is going to happen. But it's not just about me. My point is the whole situation of the world is really bad. And like, instead of trying to make things better, are just tightening their borders, as if we think, oh, we are the best country on earth, we don't want any of you in our countries. Like other people from troubled countries are some sort of disease that they're going to scatter, and countries are closing up their borders towards those diseased people, which is just not right. This is not the unity that we have to reach finally, and I think we need to reach some sort of unity, but we are far from there. But to point out other unfair points on people from countries that are not considered to be good countries, but in the rest of the world, I bring another example of what has happened to me. Like almost 6 months ago, and many of you may already know, I published my first book in Amazon, and many of you were also very kind to me. You bought hard copies or PDF copies, Kindle copies, and ever since I published my book, I haven't received even $1 from Amazon. Now, I could not sign up any credit cards which belong to me, because I'm from a restricted area of the world, which is Iran, in which we don't have access to international bank accounts, international Visa cards, MasterCards. So I used my friend's credit card as the information there. I was allowed to do that, and so that Amazon could send me the money into that bank account. And ever since I have published my book, like 6 months ago, 7 months ago, something, I can't remember, I haven't received even $1 from Amazon. And the thing is, I have tried to contact them so many times from inside Iran, from outside of Iran, and it's just impossible. I have written them like more than 5 emails. They don't answer me. I don't know what it is, just because I'm a Persian, or because like I can't really understand the meaning, but I understand the reason. But even a big company like Amazon, which doesn't need the small money that I'm making out of a few copies of my book, they don't need my money. But I don't know where this unfair, unjust attitude is coming from. And it's not just me. I have only the examples of myself, but I'm sure many more people in the world feel the same way. People who are living, say, in North Korea, people who are living in China, people who are living in Russia, people who are living everywhere. Why would be the victims of our governments? And what is the world doing? I'd really love to see the day when we sit together, the countries in each continent try to gather together, unite together, and solve the problems of that continent first. And then when the continent gets more powerful, stronger, they go to help other continents. This is the only way I can imagine for a better society for humanity. And when the representatives of countries go to UN, for example, they talk about not their own problems only, but they gather together to offer practical, deep works how to save the world, beyond just giving people food, beyond just giving people clothes, beyond these shallow arguments. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. I have no idea of, like, there are things going on in today's world, like this new movement, the woke, which I consider to be stupid. I'm sorry if any one of you agrees with it. I see so many flaws in it. Like, it's true that there has been and still is a minority group in each walk of life. Like, for example, say women or black people. They have been minorities. They have been under pressure. They have been judged wrongly. But it doesn't mean that right now they should be the people who judge others wrongly. Like, we should not go from one extreme to the other extreme before things finally find their correct path. Although I think this is the way that things are always going to happen. They are first at one side of the extreme, and before they can get corrected, they fall to the other side of the extreme, and then they take the middle path. But even if I was someone who believed in this woke movement, where was the place of me and people like me from countries like Iran and other countries in this whole movement? Is the world not going to finally wake up and say, okay, we are going to, instead of judging you based on the country you are born in, we are going to judge you by your criminal background, by your education, by your character, by your support system, by everything, but not based on only the place you're born in. I am really frustrated with this system, and I think the world is just a terrible place when it comes to politics and when it comes to finance. The countries that are in good position right now, they think they have to close down their borders to all the rest of the world. And the countries that are in a bad condition are so under pressure, the people in those countries are so under pressure that they feel the need to get out of their countries, or just they like to get out of their countries to experience a better life somewhere else, experience a new life, have new experiences of other tastes of life, and just they can't. If I was an American, if I was a European, the whole world would be open to me. I could go to any countries that I wanted to, almost any countries that I wanted to. I would be welcomed, I would be respected, and I could stay there for a good amount of time. But look at me now. All the doors are closed to me, and it's just terrible. It's just terrible. So my whole point of making this video is to let people, first of all, know, the people who are living in good countries know the difficulties of the lives of the countries that are considered to be unsafe or bad countries. You think about a country like North Korea, or you think about a country like Russia, and you just think about their corrupt politicians. You don't think about the people who are living there, the people who are the victims. And second, it's very important that we can do something about it. I think my words right now are not going to make any difference because I'm just a small person. I have no idea about politics. I have no idea about finance. I have no ideas about social laws and stuff like that. But at least I feel and I see that the current situation of the world is very, very, very wrong. I don't know what I can do as just one person to make the situation better, but I hope with videos more like this video from other people from other countries, we can finally have enough of a loud voice for the whole world, for the politicians to hear us. We as individuals must put aside enmity. We must try to respect one another and not to judge one another based on our nationalities or based on our social status or based on our how much money we have. Only based on, we can only try to help one another so that we can grow. My growth is not only dependent upon myself. The growth of my neighbor also causes me to grow. The growth of the other country causes my country to grow. So please stop these. I wish that politicians and countries would stop these funny, childish, stupid wars and just think about a way to help people. Think about a way to help people like me. I'm not talking about me, I'm just an example. Find a way to help people who are like me. Find a way to help people in Africa. Find a way to help people in Afghanistan. Find a way to help people in Pakistan, China, North Korea, Russia, even in good European countries, even in America, in Mexico, in South American countries. I hope and I wish for the day when all of us can be friends and when life is not so unfair and so unjust to some of us. Thank you for having listened to my words.